Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you.
Well, look at you.
How you doing, Coach Molinaro?
Me, I'm fine. What's that you got there?
Charley Scalies, a cherished presence on stage and screen, passed away peacefully on May 1st, 2025, at the age of 84, following a long journey with Alzheimer's disease. Known to television audiences for his memorable roles on The Wire and The Sopranos, Scalies brought quiet strength and heartfelt authenticity to every character he portrayed. Born with a love for storytelling, he began his career in the theater, where he took on beloved roles in Guys and Dolls, Chicago, and The Wizard of Oz. But it was in his later years that he became a familiar face to millions. As Thomas "Horseface" Pacusa in The Wire, he embodied the soul of the working class, flawed, loyal, and deeply human. And as Coach Molinaro, Tony Soprano's high school football coach, he brought tenderness to a world often defined by toughness. His film credits included 12 Monkeys, Liberty Heights, Jersey Girl, and Two Bits, alongside Al Pacino. On television, he also appeared in Law and Order, SVU, and Cold Case, always grounding his roles in lived experience. Beyond the screen, Scalies was a devoted husband to Angeline for 62 years, a loving father of 5, and a proud grandfather. His favorite audience, as his family lovingly shared, was always gathered around the dinner table. Even in his final weeks, he spoke of rehearsals and shared stories with young actors, still living in spirit on the stage he so adored. Charley Scalies lived a life rooted in love, creativity, and humility. His performances touched hearts, not with grand gestures, but with honesty. And that, more than anything, is the mark of a true actor.
Tina, what are you doing?
Lar Park Lincoln, the beloved actress known for her unforgettable roles in both horror and primetime drama, passed away on April 22, 2025, at the age of 63, following a lengthy battle with breast cancer. With a career spanning 45 years, she left behind not only memorable characters but also a legacy of mentorship, resilience, and heart. Born in Dallas, Texas in 1961, Lar first appeared on screen in the mid-1980s, quickly capturing attention for her versatility and presence. She became a fan favorite as the telekinetic Tina Shepard in Friday, the 13th, Part 7th, The New Blood, a role that earned her lasting affection from the horror community. Around the same time, she gained prominence on the CBS soap Knots Landing as Linda Fairgate, a character she portrayed with both charm and complexity across several seasons. But Lar's influence extended far beyond the screen. Following personal loss, including the passing of her husband in 2015, and while navigating her own health challenges, she devoted herself to nurturing others. She founded Actors Audition Studios in Dallas, where she became a beloved audition coach and mentor to countless aspiring performers. Her 2008 book, Get Started Not Scammed, offered practical guidance to help young actors navigate the entertainment industry with confidence and care. In recognition of her contributions, Lar received the Bronze Halo Award and remained a cherished figure at fan conventions and within the acting community. She was known for her grace, generosity, and tireless spirit. Lar Park Lincoln's life reminds us that strength is not just in the roles we play, but in the lives we touch. Through every performance and every lesson shared, she left behind a legacy of courage, creativity, and compassion.
Mom.
I don't mind telling you, the man was hung.
That should have been the headstone.
Clearly she lost more than her husband.
Breaking news. Feeling stuck in life? Jane Fonda's unstoppable journey at 87 might be exactly what you need. In an industry that worships youth and thrives on constant reinvention, few stars have remained as relevant, resilient, and revered as Jane Fonda. And now, at 87, she is not only still working, but thriving. A living testament to the idea that age is not a limitation, but a platform. So what keeps her going? What fuels this woman who has already conquered Hollywood, shaken up political discourse, battled health challenges, and stood on the front lines of social justice? Today, we take a closer look at Jane Fonda's extraordinary journey, from stardom to survival, from personal transformation to public triumph. Jane Seymour Fonda was born on December 21, 1937, into a family steeped in fame. As the daughter of legendary actor Henry Fonda, the spotlight was always nearby, but Jane forged her own path, bold, uncompromising, and often controversial. Her breakthrough in Cat Ballou, 1965, led to iconic roles in Clute, 1971, for which she won her first Academy Award, and Coming Home, 1978, which brought her a second. But Jane was never content with just cinematic success. As the Vietnam War raged on, she took a stand, loudly and defiantly. Her activism made headlines, earned admiration, and sparked backlash that would follow her for decades. Still, she pressed on, standing shoulder to shoulder with civil rights leaders, environmental advocates, and women's rights pioneers. Then came the unexpected. Jane Fonda, the Oscar-winning actress and political firebrand, became the face of fitness. In 1982, her Jane Fonda workout became the best-selling home video of its time, inspiring millions to get active. That venture, however, was never just about exercise. It was about empowerment, about taking control of your body, your narrative, your aging. Through it all, Jane continued acting. From powerful dramas like The China Syndrome to sharp comedies like 9 to 5, she showed range, grit, and heart. But perhaps her most touching screen work came later in life with Grace and Frankie, the Netflix hit that reintroduced Jane to a new generation. Playing a woman navigating aging, divorce, and self-discovery, Jane brought humor and grace to a subject often overlooked on television. Off-screen, life has tested her. In 2010, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and underwent surgery. Then in 2022, she announced she had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. True to form, she faced it head-on. "This is a very treatable cancer," she told fans. "I feel very lucky." And in December of that same year, as she turned 85, she shared the news. Her cancer was in remission. "Best birthday present ever," she said, smiling. Health may have challenged her, but it never defined her. Even during treatment, Jane never stepped away from her activism. She continued leading her weekly climate protests, known as Fire Drill Fridays, and in 2024, Time magazine honored her with the prestigious Earth Award for her tireless work fighting climate change. She also used her platform to call on healthcare systems to become more environmentally responsible, bridging her personal health journey with her environmental mission. In early 2025, Jane was awarded the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. As she stood on stage, surrounded by peers and younger generations of performers, she reflected not only on her career, but on her purpose. "Art has the power to open hearts and minds," she said, "but it only matters when it reflects the world we live in and helps change it." That, in many ways, is the essence of Jane Fonda. She has always believed that fame must serve a greater cause, that celebrity without conscience is just noise. Whether protesting on Capitol Hill or filming a sitcom scene, Jane shows up fully, honest, fierce, and unafraid. And yet, for all her accomplishments, she speaks of aging not with fear, but with clarity. "I do not feel like an old person," she told People magazine. "I feel strong, I feel passionate, I am not done. Indeed, she is not. At 87, Jane Fonda is still working, still marching, still speaking. Her body may have scars, but her spirit shows no signs of slowing. She continues to teach us that age is not a barrier to relevance. It is a badge of experience, a license to speak truth louder. So what is next for Jane Fonda? Perhaps another role, perhaps another protest, or perhaps a quiet moment of reflection. Whatever it is, it will be purposeful, because that is how she lives. Now we want to hear from you. What has Jane Fonda's journey meant to you? Has her story inspired you, challenged you, empowered you? Let us know in the comments. And if her legacy has touched your life, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories about icons who continue to shape the world. Jane Fonda is not just surviving, she is leading. And in doing so, she is redefining what it means to age, to fight, and to live with extraordinary purpose.
Dough. I was about to be on my own. Alright, I have to hop. Cheryl?
If you ever watched a movie and found yourself unexpectedly captivated by the guy in the supporting role, the one who added tension, depth, or a perfectly timed bit of humor, you may have met Nicky Katt. Nicky was an actor's actor. With a career spanning nearly 4 decades, he appeared in over 70 film and television roles. He became a standout in Dazed and Confused as Clint Bruno, delivering a performance so raw and unpredictable, it became one of the film's most unforgettable moments. But that was only the beginning. From A Time to Kill to Insomnia, The Limey, School of Rock, and Boston Public, Nicky brought a quiet brilliance to every part he played. Often tough, always compelling. Born in Montreal and raised in Los Angeles, Nicky began acting as a child. But even as he grew into the sharp-edged characters that defined his filmography, those who worked with him saw something more. Directors like Richard Linklater and Robert Rodriguez praised his creativity, his humor, and his dedication. He would show up to set with props and ideas, lighting up every scene with his own brand of electricity. In recent years, Nicky had stepped away from the spotlight, but his presence was never forgotten. On April 8, 2025, he passed away at the age of 54 at his home in Burbank, California. His family shared that he had faced a long battle with depression. He may have played the outsider or the antagonist on screen, but off-camera, he was known for his kindness, his spark, and his unwavering artistry. Nicky Katt didn't just play roles, he etched them into memory. And now, his own will live on, just as vividly. David Thomas, the uncompromising voice behind the boundary-shattering band Pere Ubu, has left us at the age of 71. Known for his deep, unconventional creativity and refusal to conform to labels, Thomas spent over 5 decades redefining what rock music could be. Born in Miami and raised in Pennsylvania, Thomas's early days were steeped in words and imagery. His father was an English teacher, and he began as a writer and art director for an alternative paper in Cleveland. But it wasn't long before his passion for sound took center stage. He helped form Rocket from the Tombs in the mid-70s, a proto-punk group that never released an album during its initial run, but left an outsized impact on the underground scene. His true legacy, though, was forged with Pere Ubu, a band he co-founded in 1975. Blending noise, punk energy, and experimental textures into what he dubbed avant-garage, Thomas turned dissonance into art. Albums like The Modern Dance and Dub Housing became cult classics, challenging listeners while building a loyal, passionate following. Throughout the decades, he steered Pere Ubu through ever-shifting lineups and sounds, always pushing boundaries and refusing to compromise. Despite a long illness, Thomas remained dedicated to his work. At the time of his passing in Brighton and Hove, With MC5 playing on the radio beside him, he had been recording what he knew would be his final album. His wishes were simple: to be returned to his family farm in Pennsylvania and thrown in the barn. A true original, David Thomas left behind a body of work as challenging as it was enduring. His voice may now be quiet, but his sound lives on, forever echoing in the corners of rock's most daring chapters.
I am broken too.
Liam Payne, the soulful voice who helped define a generation of pop music, has passed away at the age of 31. Best known as a founding member of One Direction, Liam first stole hearts on the X Factor UK in 2010. With charm, talent, and an unmistakable voice, he became part of a musical phenomenon that captivated millions around the world. Born in Wolverhampton, England, Liam rose from modest beginnings to global stardom. As part of One Direction, he helped deliver hits like Story of My Life and Night Changes, songs that became soundtracks to countless lives. His journey continued as a solo artist, where his rich vocals and heartfelt lyrics showed the depth of his artistry. But behind the spotlight, Liam faced battles that were often invisible. He spoke candidly about mental health and personal struggles, showing a level of vulnerability that endeared him to fans and reminded the world that fame does not shield one from hardship. In October 2024, Liam suffered a tragic fall from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, Argentina. At the time, he had been in recovery and preparing for a new chapter in life with his partner, Kate Cassidy. The loss has been deeply felt by family, friends, and millions of fans who saw in him not just a star, but a kind, hopeful soul. He leaves behind his young son, Bear, a musical legacy that spans continents, and a message that resonates deeply. Be kind, be open, and never stop reaching for the light. Liam Payne's voice will echo on, not just in songs, but in the hearts of all who believed in him. When we think of Shelley Duvall, we don't just recall the roles. We remember a presence, delicate yet unshakable, whimsical yet deeply human. She was never quite like anyone else on screen, and perhaps that's what made her unforgettable. Born in the quiet heat of a Texas summer in 1949, Shelley had no plans for Hollywood. But fate, or maybe Robert Altman, had other ideas. She stepped in front of the camera for Brewster McCloud in 1970, and from there, a new kind of star was born. One who didn't need glamour to glow. Over the next decades, she became a muse to Altman in McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Nashville, and Three Women, where her performance won her Cannes' highest acting honor. And then came The Shining, a role that demanded everything, and gave us one of the rawest, most enduring portraits of fear ever captured on film. But Shelley wasn't only a face for the screen. She was a creator, a producer, a voice for children's storytelling. Her fairy tale theater and Tall Tales and Legends brought magic into living rooms long before streaming existed. In her later years, Shelley stepped away, quietly, gently, to a life in Texas with her partner Dan Gilroy. She faced health challenges, including complications from diabetes, which she endured with grace. On July 11, 2024, Shelley Duvall slipped away in her sleep. But she left behind more than memory. She left a feeling, the kind that stays long after the screen fades to black. For those who grew up in the golden age of Hollywood, the name James Darren evokes memories of sunlit beach scenes, timeless melodies, and that unmistakable charm that never seemed to fade. James Darren, the beloved actor, singer, and director, passed away peacefully at the age of 88, surrounded by family at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. He had been receiving care for heart-related complications, but in his final days, he found comfort in the presence of those he loved most. His son, Jim Murray, lovingly described him as forever young. Born in Philadelphia and trained under the legendary Stella Adler, Darren first captured hearts as Moondoggie in the 1959 classic Gidget. That role launched not only a film career, but also a musical journey that produced gold records and over a dozen albums. With songs like Goodbye Cruel World, his smooth voice became the soundtrack of a generation. Though he embraced early fame, Darren never stood still. He starred in The Time Tunnel, became a staple on T.J. Hooker, and in his later years, endeared himself to a new generation of fans as Vic Fontaine, the wise and soulful holographic singer on Star Trek: Deep Space Nine. Behind the scenes, he directed hit shows like 90210 and Melrose Place, proving his talent knew no bounds. What defined Darren wasn't just his career, but his kindness, his humility, and his ability to connect with fans over decades. He leaves behind a legacy of elegance, generosity, and enduring grace, a man who sang from the heart and lived with purpose. James Darren didn't just entertain. He made people feel seen, understood, and cherished, and that's a gift that will never grow old.
Well, that must be a relief for Sam, but it doesn't absolve him from the hell he put her and Jason through.
Leslie Charlesson, beloved by generations as Dr. Monica Quartermain on General Hospital, passed away on January 12, 2025, at the age of 79 from complications related to a prior head injury. She also lived with several health conditions in her later years, including arthritis, asthma, and heart arrhythmia, but remained a graceful presence to the end. Born to perform, Leslie joined General Hospital in 1977, stepping into a role that would define her career and captivate daytime audiences for nearly half a century. As Monica, she was fearless, flawed, and fiercely loyal, a character who evolved from rebellious beginnings into the wise and resilient matriarch of the Quartermain family. Her performances earned 4 Daytime Emmy nominations and the admiration of millions. Leslie once said, "When you're all good, you're boring." And indeed, she gave Monica a complexity that mirrored life itself, passionate, witty, strong, and deeply human. Whether in heartbreak or triumph, she brought honesty to every scene, making viewers feel like she was one of their own. Off-screen, Leslie was known for her warmth and wit, and for mentoring younger cast members. Even as her appearances became less frequent in recent years, her impact never faded. As General Hospital's executive producer shared, just as Monica was the heart of the Quartermains, Leslie was the beloved matriarch of the entire cast and crew. Her legacy is woven into the very fabric of daytime television, and in the hearts of those who welcomed her into their homes each afternoon.
It's been the thing that sustains me and that I go back to over and over again when I need to know why I do what I'm doing.
For decades, Bruce French was a familiar and trusted presence, on television, in theaters, and in the hearts of those who admired the quiet strength of character actors. He passed away at the age of 79 in Los Angeles, following complications from Alzheimer's. Born on July 4, 1945, in Rhinebeck, Iowa, Bruce grew up the son of an undertaker and served his country in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. After earning a degree from the University of Iowa and studying acting at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, he went on to build a career marked by integrity, range, and remarkable dedication. He was perhaps best known for his role as Father Lonigan on Passions, the blind priest whose calm presence and sense of justice grounded the show's often fantastical world. He portrayed the character through the soap opera's entire 9-season run, endearing himself to viewers with each appearance. His recurring performances in Star Trek, The Riches, and countless guest roles across beloved shows like Cheers, Boston Legal, and Grey's Anatomy made him a constant, comforting face on American television. Bruce also appeared in over 150 screen credits, including Mr. Mom, Christine, Jurassic Park 3, and Thank You for Smoking. Yet, his heart never strayed far from the stage. He was especially proud of his performance as Andrew Crocker Harris in the Browning version, a role that showcased his deep well of emotion and nuance. In his later years, Bruce faced Alzheimer's with quiet strength, supported by the love of his wife, actress Eileen Barnett. To his family, friends, and fans, Bruce French will be remembered not just for the roles he played, but for the grace, humility, and wisdom he brought to them. Lou Donaldson, the soulful master of the alto saxophone whose music bridged generations and genres, has quietly taken his final bow at the age of 98. Known affectionately as Sweet Papa Lou, he brought blues, gospel, and bebop together with a sound that was unmistakably his own, sharp, swinging, and full of heart. Born in 1926 in Baden, North Carolina, Lou's journey began with the clarinet, a gift from his mother. Despite struggling with asthma, he turned breath into melody and hardship into harmony. After serving in the Navy during World War II, he found his calling in the jazz clubs of New York, where a chance encounter with the great Charlie Parker lit a fire in him that never faded. From his early days recording with Thelonious Monk and Art Blakey, to his legendary Blue Note albums like Blues Walk and Alligator Boogaloo, Donaldson carved out a career that was both prolific and timeless. His funky, groove-rich style brought jazz to the mainstream, and his work has since been sampled by artists ranging from A Tribe Called Quest to Amy Winehouse. Lou remained a vital force well into his 90s, performing with wit and warmth, never straying far from the groove. In 2018, he retired from the stage, but his music never stopped moving people. Just days before his passing, he had planned to celebrate his 98th birthday, an event only postponed by a bout of pneumonia, the condition that would ultimately bring his remarkable journey to a close. His sax may be silent now, but the echo of Lou Donaldson's sound will forever live in the rhythm of American music. Jerry Miller, the soulful guitarist whose playing helped define the sound of San Francisco in the late 1960s, has left behind a legacy that continues to inspire musicians and fans alike. He passed away at the age of 81 in his hometown of Tacoma, Washington, where his musical journey first began and, fittingly, came full circle. As the lead guitarist and co-founder of Moby Grape, Miller helped pioneer a uniquely American blend of rock, folk, blues, and psychedelia. With their legendary three-guitar lineup, Moby Grape was hailed by critics as America's Beatles and Rolling Stones combined. Their debut album remains a masterpiece, and Miller's songs, Hey Grandma, 805, and Murder in My Heart for the Judge, stand as cornerstones of West Coast rock. He was admired by titans like Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page, who praised not just his technique but his soulfulness. But Jerry Miller's story wasn't one of glamour. After the group's heyday, he continued to play music on his own terms, teaching guitar lessons, performing at local bars, and showing up for fans who were always awestruck by his humility and quiet brilliance. In his final years, Jerry remained close to the music. Even as he grew older, he was seen performing with a warm smile, surrounded by friends and fellow players. His passing followed a recent celebration of his 81st birthday, a reminder that even in his later years, music and community remained at the heart of his life. Jerry Miller didn't just play guitar, he told stories through 6 strings, and through his music, his voice still sings. Colin "Smiley" Peterson, the original drummer of the Bee Gees, brought more than rhythm to one of pop music's most iconic groups. He brought soul, subtlety, and heart. Born in Queensland, Australia on March 24, 1946, Peterson began his creative journey not with a drumstick, but as a child actor in the 1956 film Smiley. a nickname that would follow him throughout his life. But it was behind the drum kit that he found his lasting voice. In the late 1960s, as the Bee Gees were transforming into global sensations, Peterson became the first official non-Gibb member, anchoring classics like To Love Somebody, I Started a Joke, and Massachusetts. His understated style served the music with grace, allowing the group's harmonies and emotions to shine. Sometimes less is more, he once reflected, emphasizing his belief in serving the song above all else. Peterson's tenure with the Bee Gees spanned 6 albums, including the groundbreaking Odessa and the beloved Cucumber Castle. He left the group in 1970, choosing a quieter path that included forming a short-lived band, Humpy Bong, and later running a music management company with his wife Joanne. Though he eventually stepped away from the limelight, Peterson's passion for creativity endured. He settled in Australia, raised 2 sons, and found peace in painting and music teaching. Colin Peterson passed away in November 2024 at the age of 78. Though his drumming may have often been buried in the mix, his legacy is deeply embedded in the fabric of pop history. For those who still hum the melodies of the Bee Gees' earliest hits, Colin's quiet, steady beat is there, constant, timeless, and full of life.
Big as my Sergei. He sends you lots of greetings. And I have something very nice for you in my trunk.
Korra Collins was a beloved face of 1930s Hollywood, a child actress whose charm and talent lit up the golden era of MGM. Beginning her career at just 4 years old after a chance encounter outside a Los Angeles school, Collins quickly became one of the studio's busiest young stars, appearing in nearly 50 films over a span of just 13 years. She played the child versions of screen legends, from Greta Garbo in Queen Christina to Claudette Colbert in Torch Singer, and held her own alongside stars like Bette Davis, Myrna Loy, and Robert Taylor. Her ability to evoke emotion on screen made her a studio favorite, and she was often described as walking away with the picture. But behind the glamour, Collins faced the harsh realities of early stardom. As she matured, roles became fewer. A deeply troubling experience with a trusted screenwriter led her to step away from the industry altogether. She later recalled confronting studio head Louis B. Mayer, refusing to accept mistreatment, a decision that cost her future film work, but restored her dignity. After leaving Hollywood at just 18, Collins embraced a quieter life, enjoying family and the joy of anonymity. She was married multiple times and eventually settled into a long and happy marriage with theater owner Harry Nace. Even as the film world changed, her contributions to cinema endured. Korra Collins passed away peacefully at her home in Beverly Hills on April 27, 2025, at the age of 98, following complications from a stroke. Her legacy remains as one of the bright young lights of classic Hollywood, a performer who brought warmth, depth, and grace to every frame.
I came here, met his teacher, Alice.
Hi. Yeah, Principal Thomas told me you came by to see him.
And who are you?
I was his...
Breaking news. Today, we turn our spotlight to a Hollywood legend whose charm, convictions, and quiet resilience have made him one of the most enduring figures in American cinema. Yes, we are talking about Richard Gere. At 75, the actor known for timeless roles and unwavering compassion continues to redefine what it means to grow older with purpose and grace. What are your favorite Richard Gere performances? Let us know in the comments below as we explore the incredible journey of a man who has always followed his own path. Richard Gere, born August 31, 1949 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, began his career not as a star, but as a curious artist, first drawn to music, then theater, and finally to the screen. His early roles in Looking for Mr. Goodbar and Days of Heaven caught critics' attention, but it was American Gigolo, 1980, that transformed him into a household name. With his quiet intensity and enigmatic screen presence, Gere quickly became one of Hollywood's most bankable leading men. The 1980s and 90s saw Gere rise to global fame with An Officer and a Gentleman, Pretty Woman, and Runaway Bride. His chemistry with co-stars, especially Julia Roberts, remains iconic. Yet even at the height of his celebrity, Gere never seemed seduced by the spotlight. For him, acting was a craft, not a competition. But the path was not without difficulty. In the early 2000s, Gere's outspoken support for Tibet and his criticism of the Chinese government effectively placed him on an informal Hollywood blacklist. Major studios with interests in the Chinese market grew hesitant to cast him. For many, this might have meant retreat. For Gere, it meant redirection. He leaned into independent films, gravitating toward roles that explored complex, human themes. In Time Out of Mind, he portrayed a homeless man with haunting honesty. In Norman and the Dinner, he embraced characters far removed from the romantic hero archetype that once defined him. Off-screen, Gere has lived a life defined by service. A practicing Tibetan Buddhist, he has dedicated decades to humanitarian causes, advocating for human rights, environmental sustainability, and global health. Whether speaking before the U.S. Congress or visiting refugee camps, Gere has always believed that celebrity must be used as a platform for compassion. In 2023, while vacationing with his family in Mexico, Gere was hospitalized for pneumonia. The news stirred concern among fans around the world, but his wife, Alejandra Silva, soon shared that he was recovering well. By 2024, Gere was back on his feet, attending events and resuming work. At 75, he credits his health to a vegetarian lifestyle, mindfulness practices, and the love of his family. He has chosen, in recent years, to live quietly in Spain, enjoying a more peaceful rhythm with Alejandra and their children. Yet even in this new chapter, Gere remains active. In 2025, he and Alejandra participated in the Global Oncothon, raising awareness for childhood cancer. He also appeared in the films Maybe I Do and Longing, proving that his commitment to storytelling remains alive and well. When asked about a potential sequel to Pretty Woman, Gere smiled and said he would only consider it if the script was truly meaningful. That one line says so much. For Richard Gere, art has never been about nostalgia. It is about truth, about evolution, and about honoring the present moment. In an industry that often prizes noise over nuance, Richard Gere stands apart. He has weathered fame, controversy, and personal trials not by playing the game louder, but by stepping away from it entirely, choosing instead a life of depth and intention. His legacy is not just one of films, but of integrity. So, what does Richard Gere mean to you? Was it his quiet power in An Officer and a Gentleman? His effortless charm in Pretty Woman? Or his raw humanity in Time Out of Mind? Share your thoughts below. And if his story has touched or inspired you, please like this video and subscribe for more tributes to Hollywood's most remarkable icons. Thank you for joining us in honoring Richard Gere, a man who chose his own way, and in doing so, showed the world another way to live.